Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK Journey video. In this video I wanted to talk about the Supreme Arena defenses I've had success with this week, and we'll take a look at some of the top defenses in my district. And I think this is going to be a fun sort of video series I want to do every week, at least one time per week. I want to go through the top Supreme Arena defenses, what defenses I'm running and that I've felt have been successful for me, so that if you guys have the same formations, or maybe in the future if you join the season later, we'll have these formations available for you for the defenses. Then you have an idea of which heroes you can try to be deploying here, maybe to get like a head start on the new week, because otherwise for me it takes usually a couple of days of testing to try and figure out which are the best teams. Okay, so here's my first team I put together. I'm really happy with this team. So the unique thing about this formation, for the first time ever, there are two different tiles in the battle formation which are going to buff up and give full energy to heroes so they can immediately cast their ultimate. But then after that cast of the ultimate, they will not gain any more energy until the first amount received in advance is offset. So basically they're going to get a really fast first ultimate, but then their next ultimate is going to be double as long as it would normally take, because you have to fill up 2 energy gauges basically. But because getting that first ultimate is like the make or break of a fight, you win the fight just off of that first ultimate. So the way I've positioned here, and the heroes I have on the tiles as you can see, are Arden and Iron. And the reason for that, so Iron, you know, if he's at Mythic Plus, he will ultimate right at the start of the fight. So then why should I give him energy to be able to ultimate if he already gets a free ultimate? Because the free ultimate will not cost any energy, if you see from his Mythic Plus ability. It does not consume energy. So then as soon as that ultimate effect wears off, like their mobilization wears off, Iron again is going to hit them with another ultimate. So you basically get 12 seconds of immobilization, as well as allowing the rest of your team to stack up energy and deal damage. And why have I given Arden this one? Is because Arden is like Arden's ultimate is the perfect synergy on top of Iron's ultimate, because it deals more damage if the enemies are crowd controlled. It also if you take a look at the ultimate over here, he summons a dark cloud, casts lightning strike on all surrounding enemies, and the dark clouds will repeatedly strike the enemies below when they are under control effects. So that's why Arden is so good in an Iron nuke team, and especially the way it works is Iron will always ultimate the first of the fight, even with these buff tiles, and then Arden's gonna hit all of them with his dark cloud. And yeah. Also, his Mythic Plus is kind of inflicts all enemies within the range of Dark Cloud with Entangling Roots once after casting Force of Nature, so that will also control the enemies on top of the mobilization of Arden. And basically the enemies cannot do anything, and you're dealing massive damage to them with the Arden. And then we have our other forms of damage dealer for crowd control comps. Carolina deals more damage with the snowballs when enemies are controlled. So Carolina is really one of the best damage dealer options for this comp. But I didn't give her the energy tile because I think Arden's Dark Cloud on the mobilized enemies of Iron is much more impactful than the freeze of Carolina. Because Carolina can freeze and put one enemy out of the game for 6 seconds, like I think a 4 to 6 second freeze. But Arden can entangle roots them, deal massive damage, and it will just keep casting onto the enemies, and then Iron is going to ultimate them again. And so I thought it was better with Arden, and I experimented with both, and I had better success with Arden. We'll look at my defense logs and see how this does, but my first defense, now that I've set it to this, hasn't lost a single time. And I think we've gotten 5 wins or something with this first one. Crescent Spell is the best for any magic-oriented comp. You get off a lot of damage with this spell because it keeps casting when you're dealing massive magic damage. It also has defense, penetration, and attack to increase the damage of your carries. We have Granny. She is one of the best tanks in if you're running a Iron team, and so that's why we're running her. She also has crowd control in her kit, which synergizes with everyone here, and she is one of the most impenetrable tanks. Very difficult to kill, and especially with Rowan's buffed up potions buffing up the defenses of Granny, it's a really deadly combo and very difficult to get through. And we have people positioned sort of like in the back here because I don't want everyone grouped up all the way up front here in case they have any AoE that can hit all of us, so I kind of have them positioned as back as I can. Now, Vala's ultimate. A lot of people run Vala in this Supreme Arena thing, and if they place the Vala here, or honestly anywhere, I think Arden is going to be the one targeted by the Vala. However, Arden should get off his ultimate before Vala can ultimate, and Vala's ultimate, it might one-shot the Arden, but even if that is the case, I don't know. I don't know if the Dark Cloud disappears when Arden dies. Maybe we can look on some of my replays. But because we also have the immobilization of Iron, I was hoping that even if they get one cast of her ultimate, that's not going to be enough to kill Arden, and then he will just be able to survive and get off his damage. So that was, I'm really happy with my first comp. I think that's one of the best. Now for my second team comp, and of course you will not be able to run these same teams because it depends which heroes you have ascended on your account. But I do like a Mauler team. And you can use even earlier Brutus on Tundra. They both do really well in this type of team. Smokey, you'll be building up for your Dream Realm in all areas of the game, so you should have him somewhat ascended. Coco as well, you should be building up, and Odie, of course, you should be building up for Dream Realm. So you'll have Coco, Smokey, Odie, and then you can just throw together two Maulers, Brutus on Tundra, or like we have Shakir and Vala. And the reason I like Vala, if you have another damage threat, maybe even not Vala, but like a Sylvina or something, I like that. I like when you run two damage threats together and not just everything protecting the OD. Because, I mean, in this team formation, there isn't a way to Rainier swap the OD, but when you only have one damage carry, usually there's some way that the enemy is going to be able to exploit that and try to get to that carry, kill it, and then you have no way of really winning the fight. So I like double damage dealer threats. It gives the opponent like a difficult time thinking about how they want to select their formation around both of them, and then also how they're going to kill both of them. So I like that. And definitely if you have a well-ascended Vala, you should try to use her on your defense. But I like Vala along with another threat, not just Vala alone, because one damage dealer threat alone I think is not enough. Yeah. Okay, finally we have my Skrita team, and this is, if you have Skrita, you will want to build a team around her, but if you don't have her, don't worry, you don't have to build her. Like, and even in a team like this, if we didn't have Skrita, still, it has a lot of potential. This is basically kind of like a stall team that will work down the opponent with Floribelle's summons and her damage. And Haywin, Damien, they stall so well, there's so much healing, and Thorin as well has multiple lives. It's very difficult for the opponent to get through here. And if, for example, you don't have Skrita, let's take a look. You could even go for something like this. Igor is perfect for a Graveborn Stroll comp because he's very difficult to kill. Or you could even do Nero, although he's not as good, in my opinion, as Igor. Or you can even do something like Rainier. A lot of people do put Rainier in this formation of the Supreme Arena because you're guaranteed to almost swap someone. And if you don't really care about who you're swapping, like, then it can be good. Or even Sylvina, like we said. Sylvina does well in a lot of defense formations because she is a threat that the opponent has to design their formation around. And we have the Stormcaller spell because with the shields from Skrita and the healing and everything, we want Vitality, which increases the benefit of shields and healing, or the effectiveness. So those are basically my teams, and if we take a look at my defense logs, now that I've changed it to this, we've had 3 defense success, and yeah, I changed it after this loss. So yeah, and if we take a look at which ones have won, my first defense has won all of them, I believe. Yeah, my second defense is the weak link, as you can tell. 2 people have managed to beat it, and it is my weak defense. I think you'll always have one defense which is going to be the weakest. It's always difficult for me to come up with like that final Mauler team which can counter all sorts of things people are going to bring to you. But let's take a look at some of the replays. So both Kates and Sun, they are competing for the top 5. Like, they are in the top 5 sometimes, but they're always in the top 20. Malone I hardly see, and that's why we also got a 3-win against him. So we're going to look at these teams first and take a look at how our defense did compared to their defense, and we'll try to watch it in 1x speed so we can see. Okay, so I run immediately ultimates. Here I didn't have my Arden on the tile, I had the Caroline on the tile. And I do think Arden would be better. He has his Brutus getting the energy, but Brutus is basically just strolling off my right side and stopping my Granny from progressing to the back, but that's fine with us because Caroline and Arden are dealing damage to the back line because they have AoE damage, so having one Brutus up here is not going to is not going to stall my the Arden and Carolina. So yeah, as you can tell, first team was a very convincing win. And I think it is going to be difficult to deal with that defense. But let's take a look at the second defense and how he managed to counter. So he also used a Vala. The other good thing is when you use a Mauler team or run a Mauler team on defense, if an opponent has a Vala, they usually use it there. And then it doesn't free up Vala for another slot. So as you can tell, double threat. Sylvina, plus 10 exclusive equipment and Vala plus 20. But even Vala plus 10 can definitely be working here. And then the Rainier. A lot of people use Rainier if it is possible, and here they could swap my Shakir, I think. Or was this before I changed my formation? They swapped... Oh, they swapped my OD. Yeah, so I changed my OD formation so that he can't be Rainier swapped anymore. And so this is the Raging Duel. And I didn't mention that, but in the Raging Duel, either you can try to get your raid stacks, or the other thing you can try to do is survive with things like Coco to protect your team so that you can still kill off enemies like with Vala and OD, kill off 1 or 2 enemies, and then even if you get your raid stacks later, you can still win the fight. But the way to win in this one, or like to stack up rage in this Raging Duel, is to have control effects. Like if we take a look here, when any unit inflicts control effects. So my team here is not trying to get raid stacks. My team is basically trying to survive with the Cascade spell, get the Coco ultimate off quickly, and try to win through those means. So I had my OD, my position was something like this, and this allowed OD to be Rainier swapped, and so I was like, yeah, I should not be doing that, and I changed to a position like this. I think this is better. If they Rainier swap the Shakir, that is still kind of bad, and people use Rainier when possible here because it does count as a control effect, I believe. So it gives that 1 raid stack, and it also denies you that time of actually beginning, like because you get controlled and you're not able to start attacking and getting your energy regeneration. So I could, if you want to counter Rainier entirely, you could put Shakir somewhere like heroes on these 4 tiles where my others are, or these 3. These cannot be swapped. These are the 2 swappable tiles. But I thought like maybe even with Rainier I can still try and win with this defense, and maybe it would be possible, or it would maybe just be fine to have the Shakir over here as well, because yeah, even if we have the Shakir in this position and they have a defense over here, Shakir is still going to run kind of away from my team and not really buff up my team, so we could also just put him over here. Definitely if it were like a Brutus or something, I would probably just put the Brutus here, but yeah, so this was my defense, and yeah, so let's take a look now. Well, the final defense we won't really look at because it's just kind of like Skrita is going to be out shining most of the other heroes which people are bringing in. The opponent here also has a plus 20 exclusive equipment, Skrita. Okay, we can take a look at the team that he used, but I want to now jump to Sun. So this is, again, we lost, and I think I re-changed my formation here for this fight. Yeah, 13, I think I changed it, so hopefully we can take a look at that. And here he has a similar team, Carolina, Persa, but he also has the OD. Not completely crowd control. So let's take a look at where he placed all of his heroes here. So he has a Carolina right up in the front, which I don't think that's the best. I tried it sometimes, but she can easily quickly get burst. And especially if you're running Carolina on defense, then people will just place all their heroes right in front of that Carolina and burst her down. So there my Carolina went down. My Carolina was still the one on the energy boosted tile. So I guess I didn't change it until after I thought about it a bit longer, because these fights I still have the Carolina on the energy boosted tile. But I like the Iron on the energy boost, and some people might think that it's a waste because he already has his free ultimate cast, but having one ultimate into the next is a lot of strength and power, and is difficult to deal with. And that's also kind of why for my second defense I just gave up on the crowd control, and because I have my crowd control on my first team. Yeah, so this is before we changed our team, and again they're gonna Rainier swap my OD. So, and he stacked, look how fast he stacked up the rage with this team. This is why Elsa, and I ranked her A on the tier list, is because she's really good for the Raging Duel, crowd control, she stacks the rage, and he has a full crowd control team, Iron, Granny, Arden, and Rainier. So Yeah, we basically, I guess what we've done with our second team, without even thinking about it, is we've given up the second defense entirely. Like, we're like, you take the win over here, and I'll just try my best to win on the other two defenses. And I do think the other two are my top two defenses. This is my third defense. Honestly, the thing is, Brutus does pretty well in this. We can try Brutus. The reason Brutus can do really well is because even when they can stack up Rage, Brutus is invincible. So he also himself is buying time for your team to get off that Coco ultimate and also to get your Rage stacks. So we could do this, I guess. Position something like this. We could try have Brutus be the one to be swapped over. We could try this for a bit. And this is why I put Vala only A rank on my tier list, because for me, I kind of even find it awkward to fit her into teams. Sometimes it just feels like it would be better without her on my defense. But I'm going to try a bit like this one. And over here we have, yeah, this is probably the best team. Okay, let's take a look at some more. So our third team, no, we're not going to look at that. Okay, so let's look at my attacks. So on my attacks, I lost over here because I was still testing and experimenting. I didn't have Iron in the front. I actually had Carolina up in the front on the energy tile. And now, this is the weird thing. We were able to win with exactly the same team, but now I guess I knew where his Rainier was. So then I just positioned around it and we won. But I want to see this and watch this, because I think this can also give us some tips. Okay. So the Rainier swapped my... Rainier still swapped my OD. I still let the Rainier swap my OD because I'm like, I'm not really worried about his backline trying to kill it, because his Vala's already marked one of my team. And my Vala destroyed his Sylvina, I think, right? Yeah, and so the thing with Vala, if you're running her on defense, if you can get her to get off one ultimate, like kill one hero, she snowballs out of control. So that's the whole game plan, is to try and get that first kill and then go crazy. I forgot, okay, I just want to check the Cascade spell. We had it on the Coco, yeah. And the Vala is marking the Sylvina, yeah. Okay, so I think that is best. Coco gets off the ultimate before anyone dies, and that's key. Because if you can get off the ultimate before anyone on your team dies, that gives the time for Vala to nuke someone, which she did with the Sylvina. And Odie is just getting off consistent damage in the back. And we just finish it off. Yeah, but Vala needs that first kill. And if, for example, the opponent plays around it, having a tank out her Merc, and she cannot get that first kill, she is really her potential is so limited. So that is the thing. Okay, now with enough of that, we're going to now take a look at the top three defenses. These are, again, all three my guildmates. So shout out to them. And they are defenses we have reviewed before, but that was in the past. Before before this current week, and so I'm sure the formations would have changed. Okay, first team, he's running a Graveborn Stall team. I'm just going to position my teams how my defense is so we can compare. It is like this. Yeah, Sylvina is a threat. I mean... But the thing is, Sylvina can always be used. If you're running a defense, one of your heroes is going to be killed by that Sylvina. And that's why I think Sylvina is a really strong offense option. Even on defense, she's threatening because you have to play around her. So he has a Thorin ultimate, which I guess is also an idea, because then you immediately get that damage reflect charging up, and if you're really bursting down that Thorin, he can destroy your team. But this is also why I've positioned in a way that we're far away, so this AoE damage of the Thorin, it will not even hit my Rowan, unless Rowan moves up, because it will hit within 2 tiles, so it will not hit the Rowan who's 3 tiles away. But it's a Graveborn Stall team with Rowan for energy generation, and definitely it is a strong team. A lot of people use the non-seasonal artifacts just because of their effect, which is so powerful, but I kind of prefer the stats from the seasonal artifacts, and it also boosts your power, and then that can cause people to avoid attacking you. So that's another tactic I use, because people usually just look at your power level before deciding to attack you, unless they know you very well and they're like, I can beat you. So his second team is a crowd control team to take advantage of the Raging Duel, and I am pretty sure, yeah, it would probably beat me here, because He's gonna permanently control my team. And he also has this, basically he has a placement that is gonna be difficult for Vala to mark the Arden, but Vala can mark the Arden here. Yeah. So it is still possible for me to mark the Arden. And we have, but I don't even know if that would be enough, because like, he has the crowd control, he's gonna stack up his rage quickly. It's all just about, can Coco get to casting her ultimate before anyone on my team dies? But this Vala, yeah, the Arden still is susceptible, so watch out for this. If you're going to position like this, he should have the Iron in the back here or here. Then Vala still has to mark that target. So I think Vala, oh no, he can go over there. Maybe over here? I think then it might still mark the Iron. But yeah, in this position, it marks the Arden, and you always have to kind of play around Vala. Then the final team is his Mauler team. So the thing about this is that the Mauler team usually is the weakest for most people, and it means that his other two teams need to win, because then otherwise people can run one of the strong teams here and almost guarantee a win, and then they just have to find one of the other two defenses which they think they have a good chance of clearing and beating, and then they can do it. But again, this is a strong defense. All Maulers are good. Reese is pretty decent, and Brutus here to counter the Vala, especially, yeah, if you're running an all Mauler team, play around Vala, because people are going to play Vala into you because of the factional advantage as well. So Brutus in the back, and Vala has to mark the Brutus, is very strong. Okay, good team, good teams. Let's take a look at the next set of teams we have over here, which are Wooster. Wooster is the one who used, oh, he's taking him off Walker on his defense. He's taking Walker off defense. Okay, so he has Arden on the energy tile in the back, which I think is good, and he has Vala. Yeah, I think Vala, Arden, these are the two heroes. They do really well on the energy tile, and I honestly felt like Iron does really well. So he's also opted to use his crowd control on the first team, so I wonder what he's using on the second team. Maybe like Sylvina, Rainier, because those also qualify as control, and they would give him raid stacks. He's running Lucius, and I really think Lucius is definitely a reasonable option to be running. He's not bad. He is decent in PvP. He's not the best, but he's probably better than a lot of other heroes you could be running here, and he gives you that factional bonus. Yeah, I really like this team. Iron is going to crowd control you. Val is going to try to nuke someone, especially your other key hero you have here. But if I have the Iron here, it's pretty good for me, because we want Vala to be marking the Iron anyway. And Vala will probably not be able to one-shot the Iron. And also the thing is, Vala, she will jump into Sky Blaster mode, like her range mode, when she can't kill the target or when the target isn't below 50%. So she will probably jump back and protect herself. And also, Iron protects the hero here, because Iron will pull all of our heroes into the mid. And he's running the Crescent spell, which is good for crowd control. Which is good. Second team. Okay, he has a Sylvina over here. He doesn't have Rainier, and I think that's a good idea. Don't put Rainier on defense, because it is quite counterable. And he has a Coco, which is really good in Raging Drill, because even if you can't stack your Rage, it is going to protect your team until you get your Rage stacks off. Elsa for the crowd control and damage, and Shakir for the damage. Yeah, overall, very strong team. I like this team. Final team is a Skrita team. Or no, Skrita and Diurnal team. He has a Diurnal now. Which, yeah, this is very threatening. Although I think his positioning is... Okay, I don't know. For me, when I set my defense formation, the hero I want to have the Enlightening spell on has to be in this position. So I don't know how it's being displayed to me. But if I'm setting my defense formation, and let's say like I'm setting the heroes on this side, the Diurnal has to be here to get the Enlightening spell effect. Otherwise, right now it's being given to Leica. But maybe it's just reversing it from the setting. Anyway. And then Skrita, he has the Impenetrable Tank Granny, the haste buff from Damien, the haste buff from Leica, and that's the idea behind this comp. No Smokey, because honestly, these two heroes will... I don't know about the Smokey. You have a better factional bonus here, but usually people also run Smokey plus Leica for attack buff as well, because right now there's no attack buff, but you don't need the attack buff, honestly. Just the haste, getting your ultimate off quick is the most important thing. Damien overall is a very strong hero. Very strong defenses by Wooster. I think a lot stronger than before, where he was running Prissa and Walker as well. Okay, the first team is like the... Crazy. The zoo team. The zoo team. Burial Florabelle for the summons. Haywin to keep everyone alive and all of your summons alive. And then Freestro for just incredible tanking capability, energy regeneration for the backline. Here's an Igor for the stalling. Yeah, so this is an insane team. He's only using the energy tile on Burial. He hasn't even chosen. I think he hasn't even changed his formation after we've gone into the new week because he knows no one's going to attack him. But, probably you would want to have one Fiesta up here and just have your other tank over there. Or maybe at least Igor in this position, because he can tank the front as well. Then for the second team, he has Ulmis. Ulmis is a crowd control hero, that is for sure. He extends crowd control duration, so he does well in this Raging Duel, along with the full crowd control team that we have here. Yeah, very strong team, but maybe if you brought 5 Maulers into it, you would be able to survive long enough if the Coco can get off the ultimate, that you would be able to turn things around. And then the final team is his Diurnal Scarlita team. Very similar to the Diurnal Scarlita team of Wooster, but Wooster had Damien and Granny instead of Smokey and Thorin in this team. Thorin provides better protection with the Soul Pact for Damien, but Granny is more difficult to break through as a tank. And Damien and Smokey. So Smokey, I feel like there are ways to play around Smokey. Like, I mean, Sylvina hitting the Smokey, maybe even Rainier swapping the Smokey or interrupting him somehow. But for the most part, Smokey is going to be the best buffer option for Diurnal because he gives the attack buff as well. And also he gives haste and healing. So yeah, very, very scary defense. And yeah, not much more to say about that. Okay, I have found out about the lightning spell that if it's a Scarlita or a Damien, I think they still get the effect. So I still think he needs to position his Scarlita up in front of the Diurnal if he wants Diurnal to be protected with the lightning spell. Because I did some testing with this in the non-seasonal arena, and it did decide that my lightning spell effect goes on to Damien, and then Damien's chariot still got affected by the corrupting or the confining spell of the opponent onto both of my backline heroes, so no one actually got that benefit. So I'm pretty sure he should move Scarlita up so that Diurnal is the true one receiving the enlightening buff. But he has his Thorin all the way up in the front, which I like this because I've done the same thing with my defense. If I had my Thorin in the back first, like second row here, and damage it in the back, but then the opponent can run up towards your team and you're actually more susceptible. Like if we take a look at my defense now, attacking into people and taking a defense, I do much better in this formation than like this or even like this. So I'm not entirely sure why that is, but this is the best success for me. But anyway guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope it was helpful and you enjoyed it. Let me know what team compositions you're running in the Supreme Arena in the comment section down below. And as we've already mentioned, level 560 is pretty much the equalizer and cap for the Supreme Arena, but there are going to be minor increases to your levels after that. Every 20 levels after 560 you will get 1 level in the Dream Realm and as well as in the Supreme Arena. And even Dura's Trials, you get 1 level. So like 580 gives you 561, 600 gives you 562, etc. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe because I upload daily AFK journey videos with guides and updates to help your progression. But I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. That's going to be it for this one, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. And until then, everyone, peace out for now, and thank you for watching.